You know, most of the time, secondary bedrooms can be really small. This one's good size. We've got a lot to work with here.
What makes an extra bedroom a real guest room? Stick around and find out.
All right, now right at the camera. 1, 2, 3. There's your chicken, Daddy.
Homeowners love a good, straightforward, practical approach to home improvement.
Not every home needs a total overhaul.
That's why we focus on small projects that'll make a big difference.
Oh my
Gosh, yes!
Chelsea always has some great ideas for homeowners.
And Dad's practical knowledge with his fun-loving attitude is why we've been around for so long.
The most realistic, most current home improvement information you're going to find anywhere. Pretty slick, huh?
Families that improve their homes together stay together.
This house is in the tiny community of Hurley, Mississippi, about a half-hour west of Mobile, Alabama. The owners, Corey and Grace, are in the process of making it home.
We've lived here just over a year.
We enjoyed the space inside. It was a little bit bigger than our previous house. Open floor plan, was able to enjoy having the ability to have guests over and everybody be able to be in the same room together. We have a pretty large lab that needed some room to run around and play. So we decided that we wanted to have some room for him to actually enjoy being a dog.
We were really looking for a place so we could have chickens and have a garden and some privacy.
Out. Out. Chickens. Now we have 15 of them.
As soon as we moved in, I was like, I really wanted to get specifically the guest bedroom cleaned up and nice looking, since we're gonna have family come down and stay in that room. Want it to be more modern, comfortable, and relaxing. So this is our guest bedroom.
You know, most of the time, secondary bedrooms can be really small. This one's good size. We've got a lot to work with here.
It looks like somebody's been choosing some colors here.
Yeah, that's our artist here.
How successful have you been in making the decision?
Well, as you can see, there's about 4 or 5 different colors on the wall, but I think we finally nailed it down.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, because that could stop a project a lot of times like that. Well, what else do you have in mind here?
So I was really thinking about an accent wall.
The green that we chose is kind of a dark green. We didn't want the whole room to feel dark and non-inviting, so we decided to just do one accent wall in that green color.
You know, I've gotten really spoiled by having Chelsea out on the projects with me because she can figure out exactly what we need to do in just about any space. I'm glad Grace is here. I'll tell you something I love is to put batten strips on the walls and then paint it all. It looks like it's wood.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of sanding here and there. That might be something we can explore a little bit.
That'd be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about the windows? I mean, I know that if we did the batten on the wall, some the windows won't really match the wood.
Yeah, I tell you, there are some real simple things with wood that we can do around there that we don't have to box the whole thing, but again, to kind of make it look like it's all cased with wood. And it only takes just a little bit of time, almost no materials, but it does make a big difference on it. So, what about the lighting? You have just a lot of times this isn't enough light. Are you planning on some lamps or what? Any idea?
This is okay. I had an idea of maybe putting light sconces on the wall, maybe next to each side of the bed.
So, yeah, we could probably figure something out on that.
And there's some things hanging on the walls that we'd like to take down and patch up. This was the previous homeowners. They left it for us as a parting gift. So we're gonna remove that. We don't plan on watching
And
TV
look at those
in here.
bolts, gee
Yeah,
whiz.
they really put it in the wall.
Damn.
This used to be a boys' room, so they didn't want it to
they-
fall off the wall. Yeah.
All right, well, we can get rid of that. A little bit of touch up here and there. And is Grace a really good painter?
She's better than I am. Yeah. We've repainted almost every room in the house. This bedroom that we're doing now is one of the last ones we have to get to, and just trying to make the whole house our home instead of just one room here and one room there. We wanted to create a whole living space that kind of flowed together.
Now, Corey's no stranger because he engineers my syndicated radio show, so it'll be fun to work together outside the studio. We begin by moving out all of the furniture so we can start getting the walls ready for paint and other changes.
Take the plates off, but put the screws back in.
Okay.
You know, anytime you're painting, it's always better to take the plates off the wall, the electrical outlets as well as the light switches. But so many times, people will take the screws and put them away, and they end up losing them. Always better just to leave them in place.
As soon as the walls are clear, I start filling in the holes with a little help from Corey's dog, Tucker.
Tucker is always underneath somebody's feet. It's not me or Grace, it's whoever's here. He loves people, but most of the time he is in the way all of the time.
The ingeniously simple speed squares are the most practical and useful hand tools any carpenter or do-it-yourselfer could own. Like any square, it's great for making square cross cuts or at 45-degree lines here, but it's also a protractor. You see in this corner it has a pivot point. You hold it against the edge of the board and you rotate it and you can mark any angle. So let's say we want to mark a 30-degree angle. It's also a scribing tool. There are notches, 1/4-inch spaced notches. So let's say you want to make a line parallel to the edge, let's say 1 inch from the edge of the board. Just put your pencil in that notch and slide it along, and there you go, exactly 1 inch. And this feature I really like, this diamond cutout, that's exactly 3.5 inches to the edge of the square. So if you put your pencil in there and slide it along, that line is exactly the width of a 2x4. So if you were setting up a wall, you'd put it right on that line. And probably the most useful and practical application of this tool is as a really accurate saw guide. So you just take your square, hold it against the edge of the board, and guide the saw shoe right against the square.
Simple Solutions is brought to you by Type Bond, the pro's advantage.
Coming up, Grace has been taking a few notes from Chelsea. We're updating Corey and Grace's guest room, but before we start building the accent wall, we're removing the existing baseboard.
Now, we could have used the baseboard that was in place on the accent wall. I don't believe it'll look near as good as having a piece of wood that matches all of the battens the same height as the existing baseboard. So to match the size of that baseboard, I need to get about 3.5. So we'll make just this one rip, then I'll reset it where it'll go right down the middle.
Perfect.
Have you used a table saw before?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, this is where you don't put your fingers.
Okay. So this was the first time I have used a table saw, so it's a little intimidating.
It feels like I'm back in high school in shop class. Make sure you don't put your fingers here. Don't turn it on until you're ready. It's like a lot of things that you need to be told again if you don't do it often, but you should know, like, hey, don't touch the spinny part, it'll hurt you.
This 1/2 inch by 6 inch siding was used on millions and millions of homes a long time ago. You know, when you're doing board and batten on the outside of a house, it's always better to use the 3/4 inch battens. Inside, 1/2 inch just looks better.
While Corey and Grace continue ripping the siding down into battens, I'm cutting the baseboard back on the adjacent wall so I can slide the new base in behind it. When molding bows like this, it means you're getting a nice snug fit once you flatten it into position. Next, we install the top molding and then the sides.
All right, so you want to put the rip side to the wall.
All right.
Can you see the rip side?
Yes, sir.
You sure?
I can.
That's not it right there?
Are you sure?
That's the rip side. You had a 50-50 chance.
I did.
Yeah. And it didn't come out.
It didn't come out good. That's why I keep Grace around.
Before we assemble the accent wall, we're installing the window trim so we can fill in the battens around it.
See, a lot of times when we do this, the drywall has a texture on it. And you have to sand and sand and sand and sand. But here, all you got to do is a little bit of caulk because no one will know that's drywall and that's wood. Awesome. Except me and you. Don't tell Grace.
As I see it going up, it's really exciting and it's looking really good.
Did you know that when you look at a tape, every 16 inches they're red?
Red, yes,
Did you know that?
I did.
Act like you didn't.
I did not know that.
Naturally, it's always good when you're putting any kind of wood inside your house is to nail it into a stud. But with this pattern, we weren't sure we could hit a stud each time. That's why the construction adhesive will make sure this project's a success.
Also, these diamonds here are metric meters.
I know.
Okay. Act like you didn't.
I did. Since Corey is my engineer for my radio show, he knows just about everything there is to know about audio engineering. I had no idea he was this handy with his tools.
So this side out?
Real funny.
Seeing the battens go up, it just made me excited. Even though it's not completely done, yeah, it's looking really good.
We were working at the top to get the board set above the window and noticed that once we got the top of the window done, that there was no way to make the bottom of the window look the same with the apron cut at the angle that it was. Wasn't quite sure what we were gonna do or how we were gonna fix it.
So, if we put one in right here, you see that angle?
Yeah.
And you go down, it wouldn't look right.
He may not like it, but I know Grace is gonna have an idea of what she's gonna want to do, and it's gonna be different from what it is now.
It would have been okay just to have one, but it would have bugged me. Yeah. I think it would look better if it came down straight.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry, Danny.
we'll do it that way.
Like, that's fine, but it
So we remove the angled apron and replace it with square framing to match the top of the window.
Well, you know, this is kind of design as you go. Maybe Grace was right. Well, we had a great first day, which means there's plenty of painting and caulking for Corey and Grace to do tonight.
When you're walking down the aisles where all the building materials are, you probably walk right past the fiberglass because you think, oh, it's just fiberglass. But there's a lot of innovation going on in this fiberglass, isn't there?
There sure is. Owings Corning has come out with Next Gen.
All right, let's talk about it.
Well, one of the features I like is the fibers. They're tightly wound. Nice thing, it doesn't shed as many of the real fine fibers that causes you to itch.
Gosh, you gotta love that. And of
Yes.
course, with that, it's gonna be easier to cut and then quicker to install.
And once it's installed, because of that tight weave, it'll expand just a little bit to fill the void you're trying to fill, to insulate better.
See, that is perfect. It's nice and soft, it's easy to install, and it's gonna do the job you want it to do, which is save you money.
This Best New Product segment is brought to you by the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Uh-oh. Rookie mistake. I know you didn't mean to.
After just one day, Grace and Corey's guest room has already taken on a whole new look.
Okay, more decisions.
All right.
All right, so we have the option of putting the bed in between the two outlets or between the wall and the edge of the window, which is what I would recommend. So if we did it this way, then you have equal space here and equal space over there. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that looks great.
Don't mean to be so persuasive.
Yeah.
And then the little hanging shelf, which I think is a great idea. Chelsea came up with a really cool idea for a floating shelf, and I think that would be perfect. That's 14. 14 seem good?
Yeah.
And then that gives you a good margin here and kind of gets to the edge of that plug. Okay,
I like
well,
it.
that was easy.
That
How
was
about
easy.
the other shelves now? And you want one that's here, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if we did 3, that would center it up from here to where that is.
I don't have a ton of experience doing like DIY stuff, so it really helped in making it simple. So I would understand it because there's a lot going on and it kind of goes fast.
And then you wanted 1 more or 2 more?
Probably 2 more.
Okay, and you want those 3 foot, 3 foot, 3 foot, 14, 14. We can make those all up outside, and then somebody's gonna have to decide on the stain. Not me. These are actually considered what we call cleats that'll be screwed to the wall. So we're essentially building a box with this 1x6 on top and this 1/2 inch by 6 on bottom, and that way it'll just slip on that cleat and it's like it's floating on the wall.
Okay, cool.
So that's what we're doing 5 times, so I will let you start the gluing. Now this is all going to be stained, so we have to really look at our wood really close. This actually will be the front of the shelf. Then these are going to go backwards like that, so we want to make sure we got it spaced right off the end. Okay, go ahead and grab your gun. And you want to shoot it right there. There you go. All right. Okay, and go ahead and put me one right there. Uh-oh. Rookie mistake. I know you didn't mean to, but you nailed it to the bench.
Did I? Oh. I was like, no, it didn't go all the way through, but it did. So he doesn't need to know that I know that he put the wrong nails in the nail gun, but it's okay.
Maybe it was my fault with those nails being a little bit too long. Oh my goodness.
Hi, Betsy. Hi, girls.
Throughout the week, I realized Corey really loves his chickens. So I'm gonna take a picture and I'm submitting it to the annual Chicken Farmer Calendar.
All right, now right at the camera. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, he could be Mr. September.
I think he'd be great on a calendar. With a chicken. With a chicken.
There's your chicken, Daddy. You wanna hold it?
After we wrap the outer edge of each shelf, they're ready to sand.
So again, this is gonna mount on the wall just like that. Then this will slide right in there.
And in no time, we're ready for stain.
All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a little sample on the actual wood we used, take it in there, and if we're lucky, one of these 4 will match the bed.
Sounds good to me.
I already knew that green and the bed frame was gonna look really pretty together, so that's what we were aiming for.
But we knew that the bed was a different type of wood than the floating shelves, so we weren't gonna be able to get the stain exact.
And let's go some early American here while I'm doing the special walnut. I don't think that was it.
No, sir.
Let's head in and let Grace make another decision. Now there's a lot of stains out there, but maybe we'll get lucky and one of these will work. Grace, what do you think?
Wonder if we could do some of that and then mix some of that.
We can mix some of it.
So we went out and mixed 2 together, and it turns out to be a really close match. Are we sure we like this color?
Yes.
Okay.
Once they apply the custom color stain to all the shelves, we're ready to hang the wall-mounted lights.
So anytime a homeowner requests wall sconces to be installed on an outside wall, makes me cringe a little bit. Not an easy project, but this one, we have outlets in a perfect position to put the power right up the wall. So we're gonna knock a hole in the wall. Would you like to knock a hole in the wall?
Sure.
There you go. Oh, didn't it feel good?
As we're wiring up the sconces on the wall, fishing wire through the drywall, kind of took me back to my summers growing up. My dad owned an electrical company, so I spent every summer that I had working for him, wiring houses, crawling around in attics, under subfloors. I don't miss it, I can tell you that.
When the lights are wired and the shelves are dry, it's time to get everything installed.
Put a little bit of glue right there,
All right.
because they're gonna fit pretty snug. You know, there's a lot of ways to build floating shelves, and they all look pretty good. But this one is one that Chelsea and I did several years ago, and it has worked perfect a number of times.
Grace and Corey's extra bedroom was just that. It lacked any real identity. The hardware and paint color left by the previous homeowners didn't make the welcoming statement they wanted for their guest. But now, the room has a clear purpose, and that's to make guests feel right at home. The board and batten accent wall draws you into the space, and the custom trim around the windows tells you they were intentional about making this room nice for you. The floating shelves and nightstand are functional for short-term guests without taking up as much space as larger pieces of furniture. And the warm wood tones complement the cool green accent wall, just as the gold wall sconces do. And we did it all for less than $500.
I love it. It reminds me of going into like a nice hotel room. It's all decorated. It looks really pretty. The gold sconces up against the green, it just looks so good. It's my favorite, yeah. It wasn't as hard as I thought it might be, especially like the board and batten. I'm like, yeah, I could do that in another room because it just looks good.
Yeah, we're excited for her family to come down and visit. They haven't been to Mississippi before. They're coming down from Michigan, and have them a nice, comfortable, cozy place to stay that they feel welcomed and at home. And I know before they get here to use it, she's going to have used the room probably more than our own bedroom just because of how well it turned out.
Yeah, just to hang out in it.
You know, most of the time when people have extra bedrooms, they turn into a dumping ground for furniture that just won't fit anywhere else in the house. I think it's kind of cool that Grace and Corey really had a vision for this room to turn it into a real guest bedroom. And the next guests that come will be pretty impressed. They'll be very comfortable and they'll feel very welcome. Hey, I'm Danny Lipford. Thanks so much for being with me here on today's Homeowner. Chelsea will be back soon. Come see us. He is allergic to work, just like you said. There's your chicken, Daddy.